The first question is from Pradeep, who has one basic question. Why do we need to search for the unchanging self, capital S? Why do we need that? Why can't we simply live as the waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper? What should drive me to seek the fourth, which is the conscious self that remains unchanged through all these three states?
All right, so the question is referencing the Mandukya Upanishad, which is one of the foundational texts of Advaita Vedanta. In the Mandukya Upanishad, the approach is very simple. It says that our life, this life which we think is our life, this is just part of it. You're the waking self here, you're the waker, and this is your waking world, the life that we have. And we might think, that's right, that's the life, what else is there? Well, there's another part to it. When you fall asleep, what happens? All this world disappears. This world of our waking. The bedroom where you've fallen asleep, that disappears. The bed you're where. Even your body disappears from your experience. From in your experience. Remember, it's an inside-out approach. What I mean by that is that, this will illustrate. Years ago, in a talk given by Swami Sarvapriyananda at the University of Calcutta, he was talking about the three states of waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and the witness consciousness. And when he came to deep sleep, he said, so in deep sleep, there is no world, there is no body, there is no mind. And one professor of physiology couldn't take it anymore. He got up in exasperation and he said, what do you mean there's no body? I can see the fellow snoring on his bed. Yes, that's from a third person perspective. From outside you see. But what is the experience of you, the one who is in sleep? So when we fall asleep, the external world disappears. The physical body also is gone from our experience. And even the waking self, I who went to bed, that also is erased. And then we have our dream world, a world which we later, after waking up, we know it is part of our dream, but then it seems to be real. So it's a dream world. And we are in that, with a dream body not in that sense of a dream, but a dream body, the body you would want in your dreams. No, but it's like you are there in your own dreams, and you are this person. So that's the dreamer and the world of the dreamer's world. And then there's a third part of our experience, when even that stops. External world, the waking world is gone, dreams also stop, just blank, nothingness, deep sleep. And Advaita Vedanta says, all three appear and disappear, come and go to you, whatever you are. If the waking world and the waking body-mind come and go with the waking state, if the dream world and the dream body-mind, quote-unquote, come and go with the dream state, if the peculiar blankness of deep sleep comes and goes with the deep sleep state, then what is the one underlying experiencer of all these? That's called the fourth. Fourth, waker is 1, dreamer is 2, and deep sleeper is 3. The fourth, in respect to these 3. And so the fourth is described as pure consciousness, just awareness, existence awareness. Limitless. Why limitless? Because it's not limited by the waking, by the dreaming, by the deep sleep. They all come and go. The waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper are limited by each other. They don't extend over to the other states. So, that way. And it's said to be non-dual. Non-dual because from that perspective of the fourth, there is really no second reality. It is that fourth alone which appears as the waker and the waking world, as the dreamer and the dream world, as the deep sleeper and the deep sleep blankness. So they are not actually first, second, third. There is only one reality. It's only with respect to the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper that you call your real self the fourth. Anyway, that's the Mandukya, that's in Mandukya in a nutshell. And that's what he's referring to. Why should we be interested in this so-called fourth, our real self, pure consciousness, whatever? Why not just be this person? Well, that's the basic question of spiritual life. I mean, it's not just a Mandukya question. Why should I at all be interested in enlightenment? It's because when we are in this condition of that, I am this person and this is my life and that's it. Notice, I am subject to all sorts of terrors and tribulations, all sorts of problems. I am open to suffering, vulnerable. Either I'm actually suffering or potentially there's a world of suffering waiting for me. I am this body which is born and aging and subject to pain and illness and eventually guaranteed death. I am this mind so sensitive. Vivekananda says, slave to a good word, slave to a bad word, slave to a little bit of misbehavior from others. We react helplessly to this world as the mind. So the mind and body are subject to a lot of unpleasantness and unhappiness, and identified with that, we suffer in this world. It's a fact, the fact of human suffering. This is what the Buddha identified as the primal existential problem, dukkha. Suffering, or at least dissatisfaction, sometimes very intense suffering, and if nothing else, the low, unhappy drone of existential angst at the background, which is continuous. How do you overcome that? All of it. How do you go beyond suffering, attain fulfillment? So that is the goal of spirituality. In every tradition, whatever the language, you can speak the language of nirvana, you can speak the language of liberation, salvation, whatever you call it. It's basically transcending the limitations and problems of the human condition. Every religion promises that. So that's also the goal of the Mandukya. And he says, why should I not be satisfied as just this waking person? Because as this waking person, you are subject to all the problems of life, and when you realize yourself as the force, you transcend these problems. I'm using the word transcend. It's not that you will solve world poverty or one's own, the cancer of the body, or any kind of, or my own particular relationship problem, financial problem, any such problem will I solve? No. But all of those problems will be solved in one stroke by realizing they're all part of an appearance to you, the consciousness, the one reality which is free of all of these problems. It's like, when you realize this, a movie as a movie, until we do not realize it as a movie, and if we somehow feel trapped within the plot of the movie, we are subject to a comedy. We may laugh at it, then the next show is a tragedy, and you'll be bound to weep. And notice, it's worse than that, because when you laugh at a comedy or weep about a tragedy, it's still an aesthetic experience for you because you know it's a movie. But if you do not know and you think yourself to be a character in the movie, then you're trapped. So the question boils down to, why should I not continue to be part of the movie? You must realize that a movie is a movie. Will it stop the movie? No. But then once you realize a movie is a movie, you don't want to stop the movie also. You're fine with it. If there's a movie, it's a comedy, okay, it's a comedy, I'll laugh. If it's a tragedy, all right, I'll enjoy, quote and unquote, the tragedy in the sense that aesthetic experience, and I'll maybe weep with the characters in the tragedy, but I know it's a movie. And if it shuts down, blank, no movie at all on the screen, it's all right, that's also natural. Once in a while there is no movie. That's a deep sleep. But I know I am the witness of all of these. And in the movie, at least, you are a witness and there's a movie separate from you. Here, the movie is playing on you. You, the consciousness. In you, the movie of the waking, the dreaming, and the deep sleep. Gaudapada in the Mandukya says, there are actually only two states, not even waking, dreaming, deep sleep. There are only two states, appearing and not appearing. He calls them dreaming and sleeping. Gaudapada's take on that, Gaudapada is the commentator, the first commentator on the Mandukya, Shankaracharya's guru's guru, very radical non-dualist. He says, no, they are not even three states, waking, dreaming, deep sleep. There are actually two states. We are either dreaming or sleeping, deep sleep. What's dreaming? So-called waking is a dream, so-called dream is a dream. Why? Because things appear to you. Things appear to you. You think this is a real waking state. It's just like a dream. And the dream is a dream. So you have a dream state, which is of two kinds. This one and the other dream which you have in your sleep. And you have a deep sleep, which you call sleeping, but which is blankness. Nothing appears to you. Just blankness. These are the only two states for the ignorant, for those who are not enlightened. For those who are enlightened, they are the ones who are truly awake. That, by the way, is the meaning of the word Buddha, the one who has awakened. They are the one who are truly awake. When you're truly awake, then you are awake even when the dream is going on. You're awake even when the deep sleep is going on. And you see, in your nature as awareness, none of these worldly problems appear. So, all of this is just to say this, straightforward answer is to take you beyond sufferings. In Shankaracharya's words, sarva anartha prahanaya, in order to overcome, to transcend all forms of misery and unhappiness. That's why we need to realize ourselves as not just this waker or the dreamer or the deep sleeper, but the underlying one undivided consciousness,